Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sears. And as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's right. My name is Mike P. Warwarski. I'm coming to you live from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most from the co-host with the most. Here on the Rundown, 2A views, conservative news, and Craig. It's Monday. I don't know what else to say. It's Monday.
Monday, fun day,
Monday.
gun day. You know, I got to tell you, I actually did something that I hadn't done in quite a while. 2 weekends in a row, I got to get out and do some shooting.
Oh, okay. Glad you went there. Good. Well, yeah, that's nice. What's the weather like there shooting?
Low to mid 90s about. Yeah, it was good. I mean, it wasn't hot, wasn't crazy hot, wasn't humid. You know, I don't consider it hot till it gets over 100.
So it gets over 100. Is that what you said?
Yes.
So if it gets to like this,
Yeah, that would actually be considered hot.
yeah, it is. Yeah, that's what we got going on here all weekend long. Yeah, you're like, I saw the mailman earlier today. Oh, you want to go get the mail? No, I'm just trying to see if he's dead out there or not. I don't know if he's still alive. Here,
Yeah, just checking to make sure, see if dude's alive. Just seeing if he's alive.
Yep.
Anyway, sir, how are things? How was your week off?
Ain't nothing but a $1.09 here. Were we off? That's right, we were off. I know I went away for a couple of days and had some work to do and was unable to visit with all the folks out there in Rundown Land. So it's great to be back. Good to be back. Back here and wherever we are. Good to be back. Yeah.
I took Friday off, celebrating my the double nickel 55th birthday. So decided that I didn't really. I was gonna start my weekend early no matter what. So took Friday off, but we ran shows the rest of the week, and it was fun, interesting, a lot of stuff to talk about last week. I was honestly like a little frustrated because I was like, man, I really want to know what Mike thinks about this.
Well, ask me now. I'm here.
Yeah. Don't remember it now.
How old are you now?
Come on, 55, man. How am I? You can't expect me to remember that stuff over the weekend.
I'm surprised you remember how old you are. I just, at your age.
Oh, you and me both, sir. You and me both.
Oh, I am not 55. Don't worry.
Well, I just as a one of the things that I made sure to do is I'm starting now to research all of the discounts that I now get because actually, believe it or not, in many places 55 is still considered. You start getting them senior discounts. So I'm taking full advantage.
You got your AARP card already?
No, I'm not joining AARP.
It's
AMAC, something else.
You get
I'm
all
not
your
doing
discounts
AARP.
then, right?
They
All
are,
your discounts.
yeah. They spend too much time, energy, and effort fighting against our rights for me to be willing to send them any of my cash.
You wearing coaches shorts today? Coaches shorts,
As a matter of fact, I am.
There you go. That's an old guy thing right there. They're like pants, but they're now shorts. Okay, all right.
Oh yeah.
Pants,
I'm
pants
living the
tucked
dream,
in with
living
a
the
belt
dream,
on?
baby.
Shirt tucked into the shorts with the belt on?
Oh
Coach's
no.
style?
Don't tuck the shirt in. Don't tuck the shirt. It doesn't work good with concealed carry.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Yeah, the shirt stays out. I still wear the belt, but that's concealed carry. Although I do have a new pair of shorts with a strong internal band that I'm using now for the waist carry, inside the waistband carry.
Very
So
nice. Very nice.
We'll see. Yeah, it's just getting used to. Like I stood up the other day and I thought it was flying off, and it was not. It was perfectly stationary, but I looked like it was trying to jump. People were like, "What's that? What's wrong with that guy?" I was like, "Oh no, I pulled something." So
What did you pull?
well, let's just say I was holding my groin. Yeah,
There you go. Mike McGroin. There you go.
that's it. Remember that was Joey's fake actor name in
Yes.
Friends. Holden McGroin. Yeah.
Holden McGroin. Oh, wow. Okay. Let's go
Yeah.
ahead now that we've had enough fun banter. Let's start the program by giving a quick shout out to our sponsors.
Let's say hi to our good friends at Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net. If you got yourself an AR in the past 5 years, probably got one of their barrels and don't even know it. Well, now you can buy from the factory direct. Just gone over to hitmanindustries.net and get your next barrel for your AR, your next AR rifle or AR pistol build. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. If you want the best in tactical concealed holsters on the market, get over to Hog Holsters. That's HAWG, hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown, all one word, all caps, no spaces. Get a nice little discount. And if you're looking for the best in field gear, outdoor gear, tactical gear, you can go on over and visit our friends at uscombatgear.com, where you can get everything except the gun.
Folks, these sponsors do a lot to help us to come to you. So do us a favor, do yourself a favor, do them a favor. Take a moment, visit their websites. You will find them by proceeding to the link in the description to this program. So go there. Check it out today, right now. No, not right now. Wait till after the show, then go there, or open it if you're watching on your desktop and you got multiple screens. Open it on one screen and then have us on the other. See, that's simple. Hook it up. Anyway, also for those of you who are watching us live, that's 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. Feel free to comment. We're monitoring all of the comments wherever you are watching the program, on Facebook, YouTube, on Twitter. Whether you're watching us on Rumble or on OpsLens or on X. Yeah, there you go, X. Check us out. Let us know what's up. Let us know if you have any comments in regards to any of the stuff that we're talking about. Would love to hear from you. And if we like what you have to say, we'll or if we just find it interesting, we'll go ahead and we'll share it with the audience. All right, so let's get into today's news stories. And, with all of the talk about January 6th, you would think that when protesters decide to descend upon the U.S., descend upon the White House, or the U.S. Capitol building, or the White House, whichever one. Oh, no, the White House, I'm sorry. You would think that they would take it seriously, especially after all of the comments they made about January 6th. Well, that turns out to not be the case, as that's what happened over the weekend. White House protesters vandalized property, clashed with law enforcement, but police say no arrests were made. No arrests were made on Saturday when pro-Hamas protesters surrounded the White House and scuffled with police as they advocated for Israel's destruction, vandalized property, and called on Hamas to continue murdering Jews, the Secret Service and Washington, D.C. Metropolitan Police Department confirmed to the Washington Free Beacon. Thousands of protesters from across the country descended upon downtown D.C. to pressure the Biden administration into forcing a ceasefire on Israel following its weekend military operation in the Gaza Strip that freed 4 hostages. Slogans such as "Israel go to hell," "Hamas is justified," and "Death to such a and was it? And "Death to America," that's KKK America, were graffitied on city property, and protesters blocked traffic as they held signs reading F Israel. I'm assuming that was a word that rhymes with duck. And stand with Hamas. Other chants included "Kill other Zionists now" and "Death to Israel." Now, Mike, I'm trying to figure this out now because, we're supposed to not, we're supposed to be against people attacking the White House and the Capitol building, but nobody gets arrested. Maybe they'll look them up on camera and go arrest them later.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. Craig, I don't know who's more ignorant in this story: the people inside the White House or the people outside the White House protesting. I mean, this is the most two ignorant groups of people together. There should be like like a matter antimatter ignorant explosion going on when these two collide. It's so horribly ignorant on both sides. What death to America? America with the KKK in the center because they are death to America. They want to see Jews killed. So the Jews. So this is the K. They are the K. Hamas is the KKK now. I'm not sure. Or are we talking about killing the KKK because the KKK kills Jews? So we want to kill the people that kill the Jews, even though we want to kill the Jews. I'm not really sure what they mean, except other than they are ignorant. They're horrible. I do like, Craig, when they gather in one place like this in groups. It does make them easy to identify for later purposes, right? But if we were to swoop in with some trucks and load them into trucks and put them on planes and send them to Hamas as reinforcements, I think that would satisfy them, and I think that's what we should be doing. We should be gearing them up and putting them on the plane and sending them to Hamas over in Gaza so they can help support their cause.
Oh, most definitely. I think that because America is such an evil place, because clearly America doesn't want to kill Jews, so therefore they are affiliated with the most prolific killers of Jews. I don't know. I'm confused. I'm confused like you. It's like, do they want the Jews killed, or do they not want the Jews killed? Because they seem to be rooting for both sides.
Yeah, they are just so horribly. I like when they call us Nazis too because we're pro Israel.
Right.
What?
For not wanting to kill the Jews. You are pro-Nazi because you do not want to kill Jews. Just like you are, just like if someone is pro-Hamas, well then, or they're pro-LGBTQ, they must be pro-Hamas.
Hamas, yes.
Right. Because they want,
I'm telling you,
the freedom of Hamas to be able to kill the LGBTQ community?
Yeah. I used to think that we needed to put these people in a large camp so we could correct their behavior. But now I just want to take them swimming. I'll take them down to a pool and have no sides and no ladders and no stairs, and we'll just let them swim. Just let them swim. Hey, you want more water? Here you go. Here's more water. There you go. So,
I have just come to the conclusion that these folks are not interested in making sense. They're interested in being angry. They're interested in protesting. Their only interest in life, quite frankly, is to tear down the system. They don't care what the system is, and they don't really care because in the end, if they are successful, then it depends on who you're talking to. Because if it's the Muslim anarchists, well then we'll all be under Sharia law, and then all of the what do they call the infidels, including the LGBTQ community, will be put to death. If the LGBTQ community wins out, well then all of us, people of faith, including Hamas and the Muslims, will be put to death. Although I'm sure those deaths will be a little more colorful. Probably a flogging and leather chaps will be involved in the death ritual.
what did you do this weekend? That leather chaps is on the top of your brain.
I'm just thinking.
Very.
Name one Pride event that has not included leather chaps.
Can't tell you. I've never been to a Pride event.
They're all over the news. Oh, that's right. You don't watch the news anyway. But it's all over the news. Anyway, that's you.
Listen, I watched TMZ the other day. They had more news on it than the local news station did.
Well, just so you know, leather chaps is a thing at Pride events.
Well, you're in California. I do expect you to know that. California.
That is kind of part of the the whole cultural education, learning that that's what you do at a Pride event, what they do at a Pride event. I've never been to a Pride event, so
you just have all this information. That's all.
I know people.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Like,
sounds like it.
Yeah. Moving right along. Last week we talked about President Biden's strict executive order where he's going to wrestle down control of the border like he did with corn pop. Except not. Yeah, except he's not going to be doing that because, well, there's a lot of holes in this piece of legislation that he put forward, and this being reported by the New York Post. Tens of thousands of migrants exempt from Biden's, quote, tough new border restrictions, leaked docs. Tens of thousands of immigrants, of border crossers from countries including China and Venezuela could be exempt from the Biden administration's tough new border restrictions because their home countries refuse to accept them back. Over 150,000 people from those two nations alone have illegally crossed into the U.S. so far in 2024, and hundreds more arrive daily. Despite new orders to stop processing asylum claims, once migrant encounters hit 2,500 per day for 7 consecutive days, instructions from the Department of Homeland Security to border agents provide exceptions. A memo seen by the Post reads, quote, single adults and family units who are very hard to remove, such as countries that do not permit charter repatriation flights, may be considered for processing expedited removal or placed into Section 240 removal proceedings. In plain English, Section 240 removal means they're released into the U.S., a border patrol source told the Post, explaining such migrants will be given a court date and allowed to pursue asylum, which typically take years to resolve. So, in other words, if your home country says we're not going to take them back, well, like Venezuela and China, then yeah, you get to stay. That's his tough new border law.
Craig, this sounds like it might have a chance. I mean, they want to stop the immigration from countries like Venezuela and China. I saw the paperwork that the Biden administration was going to start building a wall between the Chinese and U.S. border and another wall between the Venezuela and U.S. border. So that should stop the immigration from those two countries.
Yeah, where exactly is that wall supposed to be located?
Oh, it's on the Chinese-U.S. border and then on the Venezuela-U.S. border. That's where they're going to be building the new Joe Biden wall. Yes.
Right. So they're going to build a non-existent wall and a non-existent border.
Hey, they start off with, we have to worry about our border problem because of China and Venezuela. Okay, I don't think they have a handle on what's going on.
How about you just don't let them in?
How
about if they're in here, you boot them out of where they came in. You know where they came in. Let's see.
Yeah.
If I find a Chinese immigrant, an illegal immigrant in San Diego, where do you think he came in?
I guarantee you he's got some tortillas in his pocket. We throw them right across the southern border. That's what we do. We go, boom. We go, you came from there, you go back through there. Now you're their problem.
Exactly. I don't understand why this is such a hard problem. I don't understand why the White House. Oh, no, let me clarify. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I don't understand why they can't. I just know that they can't, and it's intentional.
Listen, I mean, again, look who we're talking about. Did you see the video of the president this weekend trying to go sit in a chair that wasn't there?
He stood there for like a good minute, and I was like, there were actually like people wondering, did he poop himself? Did he squeeze one out? I don't know.
The little guy poopy.
I'm done with. Anyway, the point is that is exactly like I said last week. It is a political gimmick. It's a stunt. It's going to have. They're not going to enforce it. And what's going to happen is you're going to have groups like the ACLU that are going to challenge it in court, and they're not going to really defend it. so that when it gets thrown out, they're going to be like, well, there's nothing I can do.
Yeah. We tried, we we tried and it didn't work, you idiots. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's that there right there be their goal. They're not interested in stopping immigration. They're interested in accelerating is what they're doing. And
that's it.
they what they really want to do is that they want to be able to process everybody so that they can release them into the country. That's why when they say, well, there's no invasion at the southern border or we have control of the southern border, no, what's happening is they're literally just letting people in, and because they are letting people in, they're saying that that's legal, that they are legal immigrants.
Correct. Correct.
Um,
Yeah, and those that have already entered, those are the ones they're talking about, folks. If you're not familiar with the program, they're talking about the people that have already in the country, and whether they've made their first appearance or gotten a good address. They're talking about excusing them from from further contact. It's the first step towards amnesty, is what they're doing. They're just trying to hide it under the word border control.
yep, pretty much, pretty much. Anyway, all bad stuff. Typically, White House. You get used to that. Anyway, moving
Yep.
right along. Now, one of the things that's interesting is I did not know, and I guess I pretty much could have assumed that Donald Trump had a concealed carry permit for the state of New York. But it looks like because now that he is a convicted felon, he could lose his right to own or possess firearms as well as his concealed carry permit. Well, a good friend of ours, of yours, of any gun owner, the Second Amendment Foundation, has said, well, just guess what we're going to do. We are going to pledge that we will litigate on Trump's behalf if his concealed permit is revoked. It says here on Thursday, the Second Amendment Foundation, otherwise known as SAF, pledged to litigate on Donald Trump's behalf if the New York Police Department revokes his concealed carry permit. On Wednesday, Breitbart News reported that the NYPD is preparing to revoke Trump's concealed carry permit following the numerous felony convictions handed down by the jury last week. CNN pointed out the permit was actually suspended on April 1st, 2023, following Trump's indictment on various charges. And the New York Times noted an investigation into the matter is underway by the NYPD, and it's anticipated that Trump's permit will be revoked once it ends. However, the New York Times admitted that Trump, quote, has the right to file a challenge to the move. Enter the Second Amendment Foundation, which made clear on Thursday it will litigate on Trump's behalf should his permit be revoked. SAF founder and executive vice president Alan Gottlieb said, quote, Donald Trump has no history of violent crime, and under the Supreme Court's 2022 Bruin ruling, which requires gun laws to have some analogous connection to historical regulations, at the time the founders wrote the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, Mr. Trump should not lose his Second Amendment rights. Now, what's interesting about this, Mike, is if you remember, there was a case recently where a judge actually determined that if someone is convicted of a nonviolent felony, that they should not lose their Second Amendment rights. It could be interesting because you could actually see this expediting the decision. That decision could be taken up a lot faster as a result of Donald Trump challenging his potential loss of his concealed carry permit.
Yeah, and again, remember, many states out there, Craig, that that have concealed carry permits or IDs, and then you've got what do we got 27 now that are constitutional carry. The way they look at it is, okay, you've been convicted of a crime. Is that crime in the state you've been convicted of a disqualifying offense in our state? So, again, for instance, in Florida, these magical misdemeanors that become felonies when you're a former president are not a crime here in Florida that would disqualify him from carrying a firearm. So what he could do is come here and carry. This is his home state anyway. So it is ridiculous that that this again trying to take these little side points from this. Oh, look, now that we've convicted him in this sham trial, he also loses his firearm rights. Okay. Um, yeah, no one cares. No one cares.
Nope, they don't. It's once again, I'm wondering if though, like I said, for me, what's more important, more I'm looking at more is how the courts rule on nonviolent felons being able to lose their right to
Yes.
keep and bear
Yep.
arms. Because as I noted last week, you know, originally the whole point was felonies were generally violent crimes. And it wasn't,
Correct.
you didn't get charged with a felony largely if you weren't doing something violent. So, but it's been in more recent times when we've added financial crimes and other stuff like that. And then on top of it, in this particular case, you have 34 misdemeanors that were turned into felonies, despite not having an underlying felony that he was actually charged with. I mean, even that, I mean, is hinky. Anyway, but clearly, one should not lose their fundamental rights, especially if the prosecution was obviously a political prosecution.
Correct. Yeah, non-violent misdemeanor. Never in the history when the founding fathers did they anticipate them losing their rights. Craig, if somebody was convicted of a felony back then, and I get it, it's difficult to interpret what happened back then from what happens now, because if you got convicted for any felony back then, it was usually a horrible violent offense, and you went away forever. Nobody ever saw you again. You were gone,
or you were
and everything
swinging
else
from a
was
rope.
deemed to be, everything else was deemed to be, like a immediate restitution was solved. Okay, you committed this crime, you go out in the stocks for 30 days, and you give that guy back 2 cows. Okay, done.
Yeah.
Sentence over.
If it was back in the day, if it was serious enough that you needed to be locked away for a long time, then chances are you were going to be put down.
Yeah, exactly right.
If it was that serious. Anyway, moving right along. House Dems vote against veteran gun rights. We've talked before about this one. Where under the Obama administration and then reinstituted under the Biden administration, they've made it so that if you are a veteran who receives and you receive assistance with handling your finances, you are deemed to be mentally incompetent, meaning you can't own or possess. They're trying to say you're no longer in a position mentally where you can actually own or possess firearms. So they report it to NICS, and you lose your right to keep and bear arms. Well, there is a piece of legislation as part of a budget, I think it's a budget trailer bill, but I'll read a little bit more specifics on it. But basically what it does is it would make it so that they don't report it to NICS so that you don't lose your gun rights. Well, turns out House Democrats vote against veteran gun rights. It says here the Veterans Amendment, here, I'll read it right here we go. This is the best part. It says, the majority of U.S. House of Democrats voted to take the Second Amendment rights away from certain veterans who served in the U.S. Armed Services. They did so when they overwhelmingly rejected an amendment filed by a U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs funding bill known as the Crane Amendment. House Democrats on Wednesday also largely voted against funding the Department of Veterans Affairs when they voted against the Military Construction, Veterans Affairs, and Related Agencies Appropriations Act of 2025. It narrowly passed, largely along party lines, by a vote of 209 to 197. White House said the president would veto the bill for several reasons, including Republican revisions to its LGBTQ policies, but one key measure Democrats overwhelmingly opposed served as the barometer for preserving the Second Amendment rights, Section 261, revised through the Crane Act. The amendment, named after its author, U.S. Representative Eli Crane, Republican of Arizona, and former U.S. Navy SEAL, was designed to protect veterans' Second Amendment rights. It clarifies that any veteran who the VA reported to the NICS was done so incorrectly in violation of their constitutional rights. Let's be clear. They believe that if you are a U.S. veteran, they don't want anybody to own or possess firearms. So if they can confiscate your guns, they're going to do it. And this is how they're actually seeking to do it when it comes to veterans. And, in many cases, Mike, and I think you know this to be true, they actually see veterans, armed veterans, as a threat to national security or to domestic tranquility because, veterans tend to lean conservative.
Yeah, well, one of the reasons they went after all of the January 6th tourists, Craig, is because the majority of them had military experience, and they wanted to let the rest of the veterans out there know that if you try to contest our tyrannical government, we will prosecute you illegally. That's kind of what a tyrant does. Representative Crane was trying to get the VA and Congress to pass the law saying that you cannot just have your rights arbitrarily removed the way the VA was doing so. And if you recall, it was through the Financial Statement Act. If somebody had signed a piece of paper that said, I no longer am primary focus on my finances, so-and-so is, then they said, oh, well, if he can't manage his finances, he must not be able to manage his gun rights. Well, Craig, plenty of veterans out there that assign that to their brokers, to their CPAs, to their kids if they're traveling the world, whatever reason it is. They were just arbitrarily taking it away because they said, can't manage money, can't manage a gun. So Representative Crane was trying to get it to say that the VA cannot do that based on that piece of paper, that they must get a judge's order after a competency hearing to say whether or not that can occur. And that part passed, but you just heard the White House say, sorry, we don't care about veterans because we disagree with you on LGBT issues. So we're going to throw the rights of veterans away to continue our woke agenda.
Right. In other words, yeah, they're more interested. They're more concerned about the LGBTQ than they are about. And by the way, when they talk about the policies, Republicans are not trying to undo their ability to serve. They're just saying we shouldn't be teaching all of this DEI and promoting. We shouldn't be funding. We shouldn't be funding sexual transitions in the military, yada, 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 which are all things that I think the average American would tend to agree with.
That's agreed.
But they also probably believe, the average American, that a U.S. veteran shouldn't lose their rights because they have someone handle their finances for them.
Yeah, it's
just saying.
Hey, they believe whatever they need to believe to get guns out of the hands of Americans.
There you go. That is their goal, is to disarm America. Okay. Moving right along, that now brings us to our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just go to hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces. Get your Hog holster today. All right, our first one up. Let's just say this is just common sense having to do with liberals. These are the advantages of being liberal. Mike, you wanna read this one or share this one with the folks real quick?
Yes, Craig. We have a pie graph here, of which I would say you got about 55% is an aqua color, I would say, right? Then you got about 40% that is red, and probably about a 15% sliver that's yellow. And then the guide on the right says dark blue signifies intelligence, bright green signifies common sense, and purple signifies loves America. That's the advantage of being liberal. And of course, the joke is none of those colors that signify intelligence, common sense, or loves America is in the pie chart.
Exactamundo. And moving, and that's really, there really no. The only advantage to being a liberal is that you don't have to have those things. You don't have to love America. You don't have to have common sense, and you definitely likely aren't intelligent. All right. This next one, I wanted to. This next one, I wasn't going to share it at first, but come to think of it, I think it is both appropriate and funny because I think people have the wrong perspective about people who make fun of people, right? And I guess I don't know, maybe this is supposed to be a Reddit question or something like that. It says, men of Reddit, what would you do if you found out your homie is gay? All right, for those of you who are wondering, homie means friend, male friend. And a gentleman answered here. He said, stop making jokes about him not having a girlfriend and start making jokes about him not having a boyfriend.
Yep. I don't care which way you lean. If you by yourself, I'm gonna make fun of you, bro.
Exactly. And, y'all need to wake up to that, because that's like some of you are giving Dave Chappelle a hard time. Look, he would be discriminating against them if he didn't make fun of the LGBTQ community, because he makes fun of everybody else.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yep.
You may or may not have heard, but there have been elections, and in multiple elections across the EU, conservative candidates are winning and taking over majorities in parliaments all throughout the EU, which has led our president, Joe Biden, to ask why Europe didn't just arrest conservative candidates before the election.
Yeah, don't they know they could do that? Don't they know?
Well, evidently that's they don't do that in Europe. They only do that in banana republics like the United States.
Because when they do that in Europe, Craig, it starts internal wars and they kill the other party.
There you go. Just saying, y'all. Just saying. Anyway, that was brought to you by the Babylon Bee, as is our next one. As you know, there was a successful mission to free several hostages and there in Gaza. Now, here's the interesting part about it, Mike, is that you had people who were lamenting the fact that, civilians or people people got killed, right? In fact, more people were killed than were saved. Well, here's the reason why. Palestinian researchers discover startling correlation between holding hostages in your home and people shooting you.
It's I mean, you can see it. It's right there on the pie chart or on the line graph. You can't argue with that.
Exactly. You hold people in your home, hostages in your home, you're going to get shot at.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's rocket science, sir.
Pretty simple. Well, good, because they're going to shoot some more rockets at them. So
there you go. They're pretty good at rocket. Well, they're good at making rockets. They're just not very good rockets. They're in Palestine.
No, they're like Jihad-e-Coyote.
Yeah.
They just blow up on themselves.
Good rockets go in. Bad rockets come out. Anyway. All right, folks, we're about that time. It's almost time for us to wrap it up. But before we go, you know what we got to do? Got to give another quick shout out to our sponsors.
Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. Now you can get an AR barrel in any caliber, pistol or rifle, any length, pistol or rifle for your next AR, pistol or rifle build. So get on over to hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can fight. Now you can help take part in the fight for California's future today. And of course, if you want the best in field gear, tactical gear, salt gear, whatever it happens to be, you can get everything except the gun at uscombatgear.com.
Once again, folks, please take a moment, visit our sponsors, and make sure that when you do, you let them know that it was the guys over at the Rundown that sent you. And with that, today's program will come to an end. We very much appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We will be back tomorrow on Taco Tuesday. Till then, y'all have fun, stay safe, and we'll see you tomorrow.